Part 5. Lord Survival, My Shelter in Crocodile Territory. Author, Chi Wen. Chapter 42. That day, she was as beautiful as a lotus emerging from the water, intoxicating. That day, he galloped on the battlefield, guarding his beloved girl. That day, he was on the top of the city, surrounded by enemies. The past is vivid, making people sigh. Zhao Bang's biggest dream is to be free one day and find the person who haunts him. So, he worked hard to complete every task and strive to get a perfect evaluation for every task. If he completes one more task, he will be free. The so-called hometown is more timid, which makes him a little uneasy. His heart is full of countless questions. Is Ki still alive? Even if she is alive, how should he find her? After all, the Vlandia continent is too big. Thinking about it, time flies. In the evening, another day passed, and Wang Shuo also completed the 2 tasks issued by Zhao Bang. Old Zhao, I have completed the 2 tasks you issued to me. After receiving the system prompt, Wang Shuo immediately found Zhao Bang. Well, not bad, it's pretty fast. This is a reward for you. Horse card add 1, riding skill book add 1, military merit points add 50. Void positioning stone add 1, military merit points add 200. Wang Shuo immediately took out the horse card and silently said summon in his heart. A sturdy red warhorse appeared in front of Wang Shuo. He then took out the riding skill book and clicked to learn. Riding, current level 1, proficiency 0/100. After learning riding, Wang Shuo felt that he had a lot more knowledge about riding in his mind, as if he had mastered the skill for a long time. Wang Shuo kicked his right foot, jumped up, rode on the horse's back, and then galloped happily on the Gobi Desert. After running for a long time, he returned to the camp with satisfaction. Old Zhao, how do I use this void positioning stone? You just need to embed this void positioning stone into the base camp, and then enter the coordinates of your void battlefield portal, and that's it. It sounds simple. Wang Shuo vaguely remembers that his void battlefield portal is also a string similar to his ID. After entering it, it is connected to the transmission channel. Now you can directly teleport from the territory to the Yellow Wind Valley camp. Old Zhao, what do you think I should exchange? In the past 2 days, Wang Shuo has obtained more than 500 military merit points by constantly killing skeleton soldiers and accepting cycle tasks. Your current military merit points are still too few. Zhao Bang pondered for a while, and then asked, have you thought about what path you will take in the future? Wang Shuo thought for a while, confused, looked at Zhao Bang's pretentious look, and said with a smile, Old Zhao, don't keep me in suspense, tell me about it. Seeing Wang Shuo's anxious look, Zhao Bang smiled and said slowly, every novice player, in addition to the life profession, can also choose a combat profession, mainly swordsman, cavalry, archer, counselor, ranger, boxer, assassin, priest. There are many types of combat professions. After passing the novice village trial in the later stage, players will be divided into 2 categories. One is the Lord player, who mainly needs to build a territory and develop the army. The other type of players lost the Lord qualification and became refugees. They can choose to become a Lord or mercenary, etc., and there are many development directions. Wang Shuo thought about it and decided that if he wanted to achieve something in this world, he had to become a Lord. But to be a Lord who plans and strategizes, or to be a Lord who gallops on the battlefield? Wang Shuo was in a dilemma. But soon, Wang Shuo made a decision. No matter which one, he must improve his basic strength. What kind of weapon do you like? Wang Shuo didn't have any special preference. Thinking that he had just obtained a warhorse, and he also had a blueprint of flame spear. Maybe becoming a cavalryman is a good choice. Lance. Well, in that case, then work hard to become a general. General. Yes, as long as the strength attribute reaches 30, the level reaches level 20, and you get a general transfer certificate, you can transfer to a general. Wang Shuo couldn't help but yearn for it. But before that, you have to become a cavalryman first. From now on, you can develop your own cavalry team. How can I become a cavalryman? Where can I recruit people? I have it now. Zhao Bang opened the exchange list. There are many character lists inside. These are all system tools that players can recruit. They have different qualifications, skills, and basic attributes, so the prices are naturally different. However, these are tools with sealed souls. They will only follow their instincts and obey orders. If you want them to restore their original appearance, you only need to give them soul crystals. So you also need soul crystals. Yes, but ordinary soul crystals are no longer useful to me. Wang Shuo looked at the price and couldn't help but be amazed. He clicked on the cheapest one. ID 3334 Philomena. Level 2. Strength, 3. Constitution, 5. Agility, 2. Energy, 9. Evaluation, a thin little girl, powerless. Recruitment price, 150 military merit points. Wang Shuo was speechless. This price was too black. Before recruiting, you can only see the basic attributes, and other information is not available. But with Zhao Bang here, this is not a problem. Can the price be negotiated? I have adjusted it to the lowest price within my scope of responsibility. You can't just look at the price, you still have to choose those with good growth and high cost performance, Zhao Bang suggested. Wang Shuo felt like a human trafficker at this time. These were once living people, but now they have become commodities that can be bought and sold. Old Zhao selected 10 of the most promising ones from the hundreds of candidate tools for him. ID 7852 Ayub. Level 20. Strength, 37. Constitution, 35. Agility, 21. Energy, 16. Evaluation, he was once a king, but later fell. Recruitment price, 10,000 military merit points. ID, 9536 Gongzheng. Level 2. Strength, 10. Physique, 8. Agility, 7. Energy, 5. Evaluation, honest, hardworking, and has high growth potential. Recruitment price, 500 military merit points. When Wang Shuo saw the first place Ayub, he couldn't believe that there was such a person with such high attributes. Under normal circumstances, when I was level 20, it would be good to have half of his attributes. And his price was like a basin of cold water, which made Wang Shuo completely give up. After a selection, Wang Shuo spent 500 military merit points and recruited Gongzheng. The biggest advantage of a tool man is that he is infinitely loyal and does not need to be paid. Compared with refugees and mercenaries, this is a good advantage, especially in the early stage of the Lord. For the need for security, the tool man has more advantages. A flash of white light passed by, and a big man with a curly beard immediately appeared in front of Wang Shuo. He was wearing coarse cloth, tall, at least 1.8 meters tall, with broad shoulders and a round waist, and looked strong and powerful. "Greetings, Lord," Gongzheng's voice was a little deep and mechanical. He looked like a fool. Although he looked a little dull and stupid, Wang Shuo was still very happy. This was the first little brother he had received. Chang Gui was not counted, he didn't even have a body, and he was always unreliable at critical moments. I must train him well, Wang Shuo kept reminding himself in his heart. Lord Survival, My Shelter in Crocodile Territory. Author, Qi Wen. Chapter 43. Wang Shuo gave him a few more orders to test his execution ability. The result made Wang Shuo very satisfied. and there was not much difference from normal people. And Wang Shuo was particularly satisfied with the fact that he obeyed unconditionally. Even if he was asked to hit his head with a stone, he did not hesitate at all. Wang Shuo instantly liked this subordinate and had to buy him a good outfit. He immediately searched in his backpack and kept some of the equipment he had made before as a backup. After putting on the equipment, Wang Shuo checked Gong Zheng's attribute panel again. Found that there were more qualification attributes and a blocking skill. This made Wang Shuo a little overjoyed. It seemed that he could be trained into a tank, and the blocking skill was just right for resisting damage. With the addition of new members, Wang Shuo ordered a table of wine and food and celebrated. After eating and drinking, Wang Shuo decided to return to his territory to have a look. After leaving for a few days, it would be a pity if his chickens and goats starved to death. Through the base camp, Wang Shuo took Gong Zheng and De Huang back to his territory. When he arrived at the farm, he saw that the poultry he raised was starving to death. Wang Shuo quickly fed them food, but unfortunately, half of them died. It seems that he must find someone to take care of the farm and farm at home. He took Gong Zheng to inspect his territory, and then assigned him a room and bedding. Finally, Wang Shuo lay on his warm big bed and fell asleep. The next morning, after Wang Shuo woke up, he was squatting and the voice of Master Zack sounded. "Dear lucky players, are you a little confused about why there is no movement in the elimination round? I will officially tell you now that the past few days are for you to prepare, just treat it as a holiday for you now. The elimination round has entered the most exciting part. Please pay attention to your taskbar." Wang Shuo immediately opened the taskbar. Day 17, 8 AM, current area survivors, 1091/10,000. Main quest, survive to the end. Side quest. 1. Collect more supplies, build more buildings, make more tools, upgrade higher level shelters, to get a higher ranking. 2. Life and death competition. The territories of players in this area will border each other, and only one player can survive in the end. This is destined to be a life and death battle. There are no tasks to upgrade the territory for the time being, and it seems that it will not be able to be upgraded in a short time. The newly generated tasks made Wang Shuo suddenly nervous and a little sad. After all, this is a battle with his compatriots. In the survival world, everything is out of one's control. Just then, Wang Shuo noticed that a cloud of fog appeared on the southern edge of his territory. It was just like the fog when he first appeared in this world. Wang Shuo acted quickly. It was related to his life and death, and he could not be careless. Wang Shuo prepared weapons and supplies, and walked slowly towards the fog with Gong Zheng, De Huang, and the golden armored warrior. When he came to the edge of the fog, Wang Shuo observed the fog in front of him while paying attention to the changes in the map. After waiting for a while, there was no movement. It seemed that the opposing players did not intend to rush over. Either they hid timidly, or they were ambushed in full battle array. Because this mandatory conflict came very suddenly, everyone should not be mentally prepared. As for the preparation of supplies, they should have prepared some. Wang Shuo frowned deeply, and hesitated for a while, whether to rush into the fog. "Agi, do you have any suggestions?" When in doubt, quantum mechanics. Wang Shuo planned to listen to Chang Gui's ideas. "I think our current strength should be the best among the players, and we can try to enter the opponent's territory." Wang Shuo did not want to fight with the opponent, but the task issued by Lord Zack was definitely not a joke. If the two of them kept hiding, the final result would definitely not be good. On the contrary, if you quickly solve the opponent, you may get extra rewards. After making up his mind, Wang Shuo decided to take the initiative to attack, but he only had one life, so he must not rush to the front. If the opponent set up a trap in advance, he would be reckless if he rushed into it. Wang Shuo smiled and looked at Gong Zheng, the golden armored warrior, and De Huang. Gong Zheng was a little dull, his level was too low, and he had spent a lot of money to recruit him, so he couldn't take risks. The cost of the golden armored warrior was also very high, so Wang Shuo finally chose De Huang. It was small in size and very alert, which was very suitable for this kind of reconnaissance and exploration work. De Huang, go, Wang Shuo whispered to De Huang, I'll give you chicken legs tonight. De Huang was scared and took a few steps back silently. Coward, can you be a little more promising? Wang Shuo took out a piece of mutton and handed it to De Huang, and threatened that if you don't go, I will eat dog meat hot pot tonight. De Huang was very human and seemed to understand what Wang Shuo said. He ate the mutton and walked towards the fog reluctantly. As soon as De Huang stepped into the fog began to dissipate. A passage appeared in front of him, and Wang Shuo ordered the second golden armored warrior to follow, then Gongzheng, and finally himself. Wang Shuo put all his fighting strength into it. After all, it was a matter of life and death, so it was never too careful. After walking for more than 10 meters, the system prompt appeared. You have entered Huangfi Guang's territory. Huangfi Guang. Wang Shuo was surprised. This is really a narrow road for enemies. Then, the fog around him dissipated. Wang Shuo didn't know whether it was because he entered the opponent's territory or because the time was up that caused the fog to dissipate. But it didn't matter. In front of him was a green grassland. In the distance, a stone house appeared, but it looked far worse than his own courtyard. After a careful observation, Wang Shuo did not find Huangfi Guang's figure. It seemed that the kid was hiding. This made Wang Shuo less nervous. Next, Wang Shuo searched carefully. Soon, De Huang shouted beside a small raised mound of earth. Wang Shuo walked closer and muttered, they even built fortifications. This made Wang Shuo dare not underestimate him. Huangfi Guang should have a lot of advantages in the early stage, and he should have developed very well, so he might have a killer weapon in his hand. Wang Shuo planned not to attack the bunker first. Instead, he carefully explored his territory and analyzed it to see if he could judge his true strength. In the stone house, the furnishings were very simple, the sheets and quilts on the bed were very messy, and a pillow fell to the ground. There were some unwashed bowls on the dining table, with some leftovers. It can be seen that it should be the takeaway from Chef Zhang's house, because there was Wang Shuo's exclusive mark on the bowl. You live a comfortable life. Wang Shuo thought that he could already make porcelain bowls. After dealing with Huangfi Guang, he could find Chef Zhang to discuss another business, if Chef Zhang was still alive. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Lord Survival, My Shelter in Crocodile Territory. Author, Qi Wen. Chapter 44. There were still many things in the warehouse in the stone house, which Huangfi Guang had not put into his backpack. There were a lot of food, including wheat, corn, rice, and a lot of meat. In addition to food, there were also many resources such as ores and wood. These materials made Wang Shuo very happy, and at the same time, he had a basic judgment of Huangfi Guang's strength. However, he must have brought all the important things with him. There were no scrolls, weapons, and special props. Wang Shuo would never believe that Huangfi Guang did not have these things. After all, he should be rich. Wang Shuo did not put these materials into his backpack immediately. As long as he defeated his opponent, these would be his. If he lost, there would be no point in getting these things now. Wang Shuo then checked other buildings and facilities, even the kitchen and toilet. Finally, he came to the farmland and found 5 breadfruit trees. It seems that this is the source of the bread he traded with others in the trading house before. The breadfruit tree is very thick, and a lot of water is stored in the trunk, and its fruit can be eaten as bread. Wang Shuo picked one and found that the fruit contained a lot of starch. Now is not the time to study food. After putting away the breadfruit, Wang Shuo took Gong Zheng and walked around Huang Figuang's territory. But he did not find anything else suspicious. So Wang Shuo came to the mound and planned to wait. Under the mound was a cave entrance, and at the entrance was a huge stone door, which showed traces of artificial construction, and it was built not long ago. After waiting for a while, Wang Shuo realized that he was now in the opponent's territory, and the opponent would definitely be able to know his position through the enemy identification system of the map. So he stopped pretending and showed his cards. "Huang Figuang, come out and talk to us." "Who are you? Why should I come out and talk to you?" Huang Figuang should know that it was Wang Shuo who invaded his territory. After all, Wang Shuo got the system prompt. "You are really a noble man who forgets things easily, Wang Shuo." Wang Shuo loudly introduced himself so that the other party could recall. Seeing his arrogance before, I thought he was a tough guy, but I didn't expect that he would become a coward without even seeing the enemy. At this moment, Wang Shuo noticed that the number of people in the current area was decreasing rapidly. There were thousands of people before, but now it has dropped to more than 700. Wang Shuo only then realized how cold-blooded and cruel people can be in the face of survival. "Agi, what will be the consequences if I let the other party go?" It is basically certain that Lord Zack will give both the enemy and us a countdown. When the countdown ends, both sides have not yet decided life and death, then both sides may be wiped out. After a while, he wrote again, "At this time, you can't be merciful." Chang Gui didn't want Wang Shuo to get into trouble at this time. After all, Wang Shuo now has a good hand, and his future is bright. "If you don't come out, don't blame me for being rude," Wang Shuo shouted loudly. At this moment, De Huang suddenly shouted loudly, "Woof, woof." Wang Shuo became alert. Is there any danger approaching? Could it be that Huang Figuang has arranged a backup plan? Wang Shuo immediately took out his bow and arrow and became alert. At the same time, he ordered the golden armored warrior to slowly approach the direction indicated by De Huang. Located in Huang Figuang's territory, Wang Shuo had no way to observe the situation of his territory through the map. Could his territory also be invaded? Suddenly, with a whoosh, an iron arrow was shot from the direction of his territory. Wang Shuo did not react and was hit by the arrow. A -50 damage value floated above his head. The huge impact of the arrow knocked Wang Shuo to the ground directly. Gong Zheng was quick-witted and immediately raised his shield to protect Wang Shuo behind him. He actually shot a cold arrow. Wang Shuo felt an inexplicable anger in his heart. In the blink of an eye, the archer appeared in front of Wang Shuo riding a huge tiger. A masked man, wearing a tights, with a short knife hanging on his waist and a bow and arrow in his hand. Neither side said a word and started fighting directly. The golden armored warrior faced the opponent's pet tiger, while Gong Zheng fought with the opponent himself. Wang Shuo also shot an arrow at the enemy, but it did not hit. Then he used the reconnaissance skill on him. He found that the opponent was called Ichiro Fukuda, level 4, and all attributes were lower than his own. Wang Shuo smiled contemptuously, "Just this, you dare to sneak attack me, you are simply looking for death." Wang Shuo directly took out a long sword and joined the battle. Gong Zheng, who was only level 2, was still obviously at a disadvantage, although his basic attributes were also higher than Ichiro Fukuda. But because he was a tool man, he was far less flexible than the opponent, and his main weapon was a shield. It was difficult to cause fatal damage to the opponent. After Wang Shuo joined the battle, Ichiro Fukuda fell into a disadvantage directly. Soon, Wang Shuo stabbed him with a sword, and his health began to decrease. Moreover, his right arm was injured, so his fighting ability was also affected. At this moment, the golden armored warrior also cut off the tiger's head with a sword. After all, the tiger was just an ordinary beast, and it had no chance of winning against the golden armored warrior. Ichiro Fukuda saw his mount being killed, and there was a look of despair in his eyes. He never thought that it would end like this. How could the opponent be so powerful, with a puppet with explosive combat power, and also recruited a subordinate? He thought that he had a mount, so he could be one step faster and kill the opponent at a lightning speed. And he was the first to attack, but he didn't expect that the opponent would crush him directly with his powerful force. Ichiro Fukuda was defeated step by step, and Wang Shuo didn't intend to let him go. This was a fight to the death, and the opponent didn't mean to surrender. Wang Shuo directly held the sword with both hands, jumped high, and chopped it heavily on the opponent's head. Ichiro Fukuda's strength attribute was less than 10 points, while Wang Shuo had 15 points with the bonus of equipment. Although Ichiro Fukuda held the knife with both hands and tried his best to resist, the sword still cut deeply into his left shoulder, and a -53 damage floated above his head, indicating a fatal blow. At this moment, he had lost his fighting ability and fell to the ground, wailing in pain. "Do you have any last words?" Wang Shuo couldn't bear to see the other party in pain. "Baga." Ichiro Fukuda suddenly jumped up and spit out a poison needle from his mouth. Wang Shuo's pupils shrank and his breathing became rapid. This change caught Wang Shuo off guard. Just when Wang Shuo was about to be stabbed by the poison needle, Gong Zheng's iron shield blocked Wang Shuo in time, which saved him from danger. While Wang Shuo was still in shock, Gong Zheng's iron shield also hit Ichiro Fukuda's head hard. Suddenly, his health value was reset to 0. Wang Shuo looked at the dead Ichiro Fukuda, and his heart was mixed for a while. Sitting on the grass, he was silent for a long time. The sadness on his face gradually disappeared, replaced by a look of determination. Lord Survival, My Shelter in Crocodile Territory. Author, Chi Wen. Chapter 45. He stood up, and the whole person seemed to have undergone some changes, and it seemed that nothing had happened. "Clean up the battlefield and bury him by the way," he ordered Gongzheng. "Yes." Wang Shuo was still a little uncomfortable with his first killing. After a while, Gongzheng came over and said in a deep voice, "Lord, the body has been buried." Wang Shuo nodded, and then shouted, "Let's go." Gongzheng followed closely and went to Huang Figuang's hiding place. "Huang Figuang, if you are a man, come out, let's fight openly." Wang Shuo roared, as if issuing a final notice. For a long time, there was still no response. Only a strong attack. Wang Shuo took the lead, and the golden armor warrior had the highest attack power, so he was naturally the main force. The durability of the stone door is not high, only 2000, but the defense is amazing. Wang Shuo and Gongzheng's attacks can only deduct 1 point of durability each time. The attack of the golden armor warrior was slightly higher, only 5 points, so it took a while to reduce the durability to single digits. At this time, Wang Shuo was on full alert. Learning from the previous lesson, he directly asked Gongzheng to hold the shield and stand in the front. With a bang, the stone door was broken. A passage appeared in front of him. Wang Shuo asked Gongzheng to walk in front and he walked in the back. After walking a section of the passage, he heard Huang Figuang's voice from the front. "Don't come over." The voice was a little trembling, and there was a trace of fear. After walking forward for a while, he walked out of the passage and suddenly saw a clear view. "I saw a huge palace appeared in front of me. The palace was majestic and simple, built according to the mountain, and it was magnificent." The system prompted that Wang Shuo had discovered the Dragon King underground palace. Could this be the copy in Huang Figuang's territory? Wang Shuo had a guess. Could it be that every player's territory has a copy? In fact, this guess is not correct. In the novice trial stage, the difficulty of the dungeon is very high. Just like Wang Shuo, if he enters the ancient battlefield without a golden armor warrior, he will basically die. Most of the player territories are resource minerals, and there is only a very small possibility that there will be a dungeon with a high degree of danger and powerful monsters. Huang Figuang is very unfortunate. There are extremely powerful monsters guarding his Dragon King underground palace. Huang Figuang stood at the door of the palace and did not go in. He once tried to explore the underground palace, but unfortunately the small animal he put in to try was torn to pieces in an instant. He knew in his heart that there was a great horror inside. Wang Shuo, don't come over, otherwise I will push open this door. He showed a look of horror on his face and gritted his teeth. He wanted to threaten Wang Shuo with the monsters in the Dragon King Palace. But Wang Shuo didn't know. So he didn't have an accurate judgment on Huang Figuang's threat. Huang Figuang, since we are from the same planet, I will give you a chance to fight me. Wang Shuo had just checked his level and attributes, and he was still very confident. Huang Figuang used to be a dependent. He basically stayed at home playing games and neglected exercise. He had never fought with others, so how could he have any combat experience? So he immediately became timid and refused directly, I won't fight with you. I advise you to leave my territory quickly, otherwise I will kill you together. Wang Shuo had a powerful puppet like the Golden Armor Warrior, so he was not afraid. He took out his bow and arrow and shot an arrow at him. Huang Figuang was hit directly by the arrow. After all, the distance between them was only more than 20 meters at this time, so Wang Shuo could easily hit him. Seeing Wang Shuo take action, Huang Figuang also became fierce. He didn't know where the courage came from, and he decided to take a gamble. Escape into the underground palace, there is still a glimmer of hope. If he duels with Wang Shuo, there will be only one way to die. He absolutely did not believe that Wang Shuo would fight fairly. Looking at the two helpers beside him, he was sure of this. He gritted his teeth, pushed open the door of the underground palace, and rushed in. Wang Shuo hesitated for a moment, and did not follow immediately. In the blink of an eye, he heard Huang Figuang's scream. Wang Shuo was frightened and took a few steps back, while Gong Zheng took a step forward and took out a shield to block in front of him. After a while, there was no movement. Wang Shuo thought about it and decided to go forward and test it. He ordered the Golden Armored Warrior and Gong Zheng to walk side by side in front so that they could support each other. When he arrived at the gate of the underground palace, he took a deep breath and ordered the Golden Armored Warrior to step into the gate. There was nothing unusual at this time. Wang Shuo also stepped into the gate of the underground palace. What came into view was a magnificent hall. On the steps in front, there was a dragon chair, and there were several chairs on both sides, which looked like a meeting hall. The walls around were also covered with exquisite murals. But before he could take a closer look, a black shadow came over like a ghost, and its speed was as fast as that of the Golden Armored Warrior. After just one encounter, Gong Zheng was knocked out of the door, and at the same time, he only had less than 100 health points left, and this was the effect of the black shadow attacking the shield. This sudden change caught Wang Shuo off guard, and his face changed drastically. He immediately stepped back, helped Gong Zheng up, and retreated to the passage. Leaving the Golden Armored Warrior behind, Wang Shuo ran a few steps. Looking back, he saw that the durability of the Golden Armored Warrior had dropped by more than 1,000. Wang Shuo hurriedly ordered the Golden Armored Warrior to retreat. The group rushed out of the passage at a very fast speed. Fortunately, the black shadow did not rush out of the passage, which gave Wang Shuo a chance to breathe. If the black shadow also rushed out of the passage, he could only teleport to the ancient battlefield for refuge. This underground palace was too dangerous, so Wang Shuo decided to block this passage. After taking a breath, Wang Shuo directly sealed this passage with stone and cement mortar. Only then did Wang Shuo feel completely relieved. He looked at Gong Zheng's injuries again and urgently needed to replenish his health. Thinking of the several bottles of life potion seized from Ichiro Fukuda's backpack, he quickly gave Gong Zheng the medicine, which made his health reach a healthy state, and the rest would recover naturally. He checked the task column again. At this time, the life and death competition task was shown to have been completed. This level was finally passed, and the territories of these two people naturally became Wang Shuo's territory. He finally showed a satisfied smile. At the moment when Huang Figuang died, Wang Shuo's territory underwent a huge change. Huang Figuang's territory was directly merged to the south of Wang Shuo's shelter, while Fukuda Ichiro's territory was merged to the north, and his territory was directly expanded by 2 times. Wang Shuo was not surprised by this, and discussed it with Chang Gui again, and learned the role of the heart of the shelter. So Wang Shuo went directly to Huang Figuang's shelter. He did not intend to keep the stone house, but directly took out the heart of the shelter. Soon he transferred all the supplies in the warehouse to his backpack, and then dismantled the stone house and got some materials. Fukuda Ichiro's territory was a forest, and Wang Shuo also dismantled his shelter. Lord Survival, My Shelter in Crocodile Territory. Author, Qi Wen. Chapter 46. In this way, Wang Shuo obtained a huge amount of resources. Iron ore times 900, wood times 3000, stone times 1200, gold coins times 350, energy crystals times 100, and other resources. Wang Shuo was a little sad that he did not get the important resources from Huang Figuang. These were all unexpected gains, and this wave was still a huge profit. He looked at his gold coins again, and with the bronze key molds and other resources that he had consigned before, he had another 4,950. This made Wang Shuo a little overjoyed. At this time, there were still 35 sets of bronze key molds left for consignment. It seemed that some of them were not selling well, and almost all the ones that should be bought were bought. At this moment, Wang Shuo could be said to be rich and powerful, and he was full of confidence in making it to the rankings. In the evening, Wang Shuo returned to his territory and spent some materials and gold coins to repair the durability of the golden armor warrior. Then he opened the chat channel. We don't want to kill each other, we want peace. I call on all parties to remain calm. This is just a test from Lord Zack. Don't do it. Don't kill me. I have old people above me and young children below me. The atmosphere in the chat channel was very strange. Few people were talking. It seemed that everyone was very busy and had no time to chat. Wang Shuo had nothing to say and directly exited the chat channel. The business that should be done should still be done. Wang Shuo found Chef Zhang and sent a message, "Brother Chef, are you still alive?" Chef Zhang's friend Avatar did not turn gray, so he should still be alive. After a while, Chef Zhang replied, "I'm still alive. I just killed someone." Wang Shuo was silent for a moment and replied, "I killed too." This world is really forcing good people into prostitution, Chef Zhang said bitterly. Wang Shuo instantly lost the idea of continuing to do business. At this time, he had only one thought, to quickly improve his combat strength and then survive. The battle for the village construction order that will begin soon will definitely be more dangerous and cruel than this elimination match. This game is a test of human nature in the most extreme situation. Everyone has no choice. After resting, Wang Shuo entered the ancient battlefield again in the afternoon. At present, only this place can effectively improve his combat level. When he came to Huangfeng Valley and found Zhao Bangde, Wang Shuo said directly, "I want to take the task." Zhao Bangde saw that Wang Shuo was obviously different from yesterday. "Have you killed a player?" Zhao Bangde asked in confusion. Wang Shuo showed a trace of sadness on his face, and after a long while he slowly said, "Yes. It's not your fault. Just get used to it." Zhao Bangde comforted. "I have 2 more tasks for you. One is an infinite task that can be accepted continuously. Every time you kill 100 monsters in the ancient battlefield, you will automatically be rewarded with 200 military merit points. The other is that if you kill a small boss, you can get 500 military merit points and an item. You currently have a golden armor warrior, and you have the strength to kill the big knife skeleton king 3 miles east of the camp. Quartermaster Zhao Bangde is issuing a task to you. Do you accept it? Accept. Soon Wang Shuo adjusted his mentality and walked out of the camp with his subordinates. The deeper into the Gobi Desert, the denser the skeleton soldiers are. There is no shortage of monsters at this time. Wang Shuo went all the way east and killed the big knife skeleton king. Naturally, he did not let go of the small monsters along the way. On a raised hillside, Wang Shuo saw the target of this trip. A skeleton king holding a big knife. The bone knife in his hand is taller than his height, estimated to be more than 2 meters. Reconnaissance. Skeleton king with a big knife. Level 10. Attack power, 300. Defense power, 20. Health points, 5,000. Skills, sweep through thousands of troops, charge a strike. Evaluation, a first-level undead boss in the ancient battlefield, powerful and with amazing defense. Wang Shuo took a look and felt something was not good. This attack was too high. At this time, the price paid for a strong attack must be very high. Gong Zheng still lacked a good shield, while Wang Shuo lacked a handy weapon. So, he decided to give up for the time being. Let's kill the monsters first, and hone our combat skills and cooperation. In this way, the two of them and the puppet began to slaughter crazily in the Gobi Desert. The cycle mission was completed 3 times, and several ordinary skeleton kings were killed. In this way, his military merit points also reached 1,000 points. In the evening, Huangfeng Valley Camp. Wang Shuo found Zhao Bangde and directly recruited 2 more tools. These 2 people are Gong Zheng's brothers, named Gong Ping and Gong Kai. Wang Shuo recruited these 2 brothers mainly because Gong Zheng said that when the 3 brothers are together, they will trigger a brotherly unity buff, which can increase each person's health, attack power, and defense by 30%. After hearing this, Wang Shuo opened his mouth wide, as if he had eaten an egg. This buff is simply too much. It is equivalent to a 1/3 increase in all states. When Gong Zheng mentioned this, Wang Shuo made up his mind to reunite the 3 brothers. After the personnel were supplemented, the only thing left was equipment. Wang Shuo led everyone back to the territory and settled down. Then he came to the workshop and planned to make a batch of excellent equipment to improve the combat effectiveness of his team. Iron ore, he now has 1,000 units, the material is sufficient. Gong Zheng, who has been upgraded to level 5, Wang Shuo plans to make him a heavy shield to act as the front row, attract firepower, and resist damage. Gong Kai is good at using knives, while Gong Ping likes to use bows and arrows. The 3 brothers have their own strengths, and Wang Shuo has tailored equipment for them. Wang Shuo himself made a spear. He has made up his mind to develop in the direction of a military commander. He can be familiar with horse kung fu and gun skills in advance. It was not until late at night that Wang Shuo finished making all the equipment and the iron ore was exhausted. The next morning, Wang Shuo couldn't wait to put the new equipment on the 3 brothers. Although Gong Kai and Gong Ping are still level 2 minions. But after wearing the new equipment, the momentum came out immediately, and there was a taste of elite. It is necessary to upgrade as soon as possible and raise the level. Arriving at the Huangfeng Valley camp, I saw Zhao Bangde exercising from a distance. Wang Shuo did not step forward immediately, but waited patiently. Zhao Bangde's boxing skills seemed to be slow, but in fact they were extremely powerful. They could mobilize the whole body's strength at one point and burst out amazing fighting power. A quarter of an hour later, Zhao Bangde put away his fists, looked at Wang Shuo and his party, and joked, "You are finally not fighting alone now, haha." Wang Shuo laughed at himself, and then humbly asked, "Old Zhao, what do you think I should do next?" Zhao Bangde touched his beard, pondered for a while, and said, "For me, only military merit points are useful, So your main task today is to go and clear out the skeleton soldiers on the Gobi Desert. After that, he took a few steps, and then pretended to be mysterious and continued, go and earn military merit points. I have a few mysterious props here, you definitely want them. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Lord Survival, My Shelter in Crocodile Territory. Author, Chi Wen. Chapter 47. Wang Shuo looked at Zhao Bond walking away, full of fighting spirit. After accepting his mission, Wang Shuo walked towards the Gobi with his subordinates. Wang Shuo planned to raise the level of himself and others, and then challenge the Sword Skeleton King in the afternoon. In the Gobi Desert of the ancient battlefield, wind and sand blow all year round. When the wind is strong, the sand and rocks are blown away. These blown gravels are really a kind of torture for the skeleton soldiers. But this is also a way for skeleton soldiers to temper their bones. After being polished with gravel, their physiques will become stronger. Of course, there will also be some skeleton soldiers who will be blown away and completely destroyed. Wang Shuo and his team have melee combatants, long-range combatants, and damage resistance specialists. It can be said that they are an excellent combat team. Now they are consciously integrating the team, developing tactics, and preparing to kill the skeleton boss. At this moment, Chang Gui reminded, "Lord, there seems to be danger." Wang Shuo immediately became alert and led everyone to hide behind a huge rock. Then he took out the telescope he got from opening the treasure chest before and started observing. Soon he discovered something unusual. 1 kilometer away, a black-robed skeleton stood out from the crowd. He held the staff in his hand and was casting a spell. The scattered skeletons in front of him were assembled into skeleton soldiers at a speed visible to the naked eye. The distance was too far, and Wang Shuo could not carry out investigation, so he could only tell Chang Gui about the situation. Although Chang Gui could sense the danger, he couldn't tell what kind of danger it was because the distance was too far. After Wang Shuo's introduction, he thought for a while before writing in his diary, this kind of skeleton may be a necromancer. He has a skill that can summon skeleton soldiers from bones. This kind of skeleton soldiers can only exist for 24 hours, and their energy will be exhausted. If there is a battle, the consumption rate will accelerate, and when the time is up, they will turn into bones again. But during this period, if they absorb additional energy and resist for 24 hours, they will be reborn and become the skeleton soldiers we encountered before. It turns out to be a skeleton mother, which is interesting, Wang Shuo whispered. There are a lot of skeleton soldiers around the necromancer, but they have almost no fighting power at the moment. Wang Shuo directly ordered attack. Gong Zheng took the lead, holding a large shield as high as a person and rushed forward. Wang Shuo also summoned a war horse, holding a fine spear in his hand, accelerated and flew out. The targets he chose at the moment were all relatively weak skeleton soldiers, level 1, and they could basically break their skeletons apart with one blow. Looking around, Wang Shuo was very satisfied that there really was no enemy in sight and that he was quite brave and unstoppable. Soon, Gong Zheng and others also joined the battle. There were still some high-level skeleton soldiers around the undead wizard, but the presence of the golden armored warriors could not pose a threat to Wang Shuo and others. Wang Shuo was a little worried about whether this undead wizard had other skills. Wandering around the battlefield, Wang Shuo took out his bow and arrow and shot an arrow at the undead wizard. A number -30 immediately appeared on his head. Wang Shuo used another investigative skill. Necromancer. Level 7. Attack power, 60. Defense, 5. Health value, 1400. Skills, Summoning the Undead, Ball of Corrosion. Evaluation, the third-level undead arms in the ancient battlefield are weak in combat power, but there are often a large number of skeleton soldiers around them. It was actually a third-level soldier, which surprised Wang Shuo. But looking at his level, it was only level 7, which made Wang Shuo wonder if he was wrong. There are only about 20 skeleton soldiers around him, and only 5 of them are capable of fighting. They don't look like third-level necromancers. In fact, this undead wizard who lived near the Yellow Wind Valley camp had a fierce battle with his kind. He lost all his guards and his original level of 25 was dropped to level 7. It can be said that it is very pitiful. At this moment, he is trying to recruit troops and restore his strength. He hadn't seen a human being in many years, especially when he was at his weakest. At this moment, he felt a little panicked. As a third-level undead, he already has spiritual intelligence, but unfortunately he does not understand human language. Otherwise, he is likely to beg for mercy. Seeing one of his bodyguards being cut into pieces by the golden armored warrior, and neatly torn into a skeleton, he had the idea of escape at this moment. But Wang Shuo didn't give him a chance. He rode around on his warhorse and shot him an arrow from time to time, which made him a little intolerable. Aimed at Wang Shuo, he released a corrosion ball skill. A number -120 immediately appeared on Wang Shuo's head, and at the same time, a large piece of his armor was corroded. Fortunately, he was protected by the armor, otherwise he would have suffered the pain of corroded flesh. Wang Shuo was knocked off his horse by this blow. His riding skill level was only level 1, and his stability on the horse was still a bit poor. At the same time, there was a surge of blood in his chest, and a trace of blood spilled from the corner of his mouth. It's very powerful. Wang Shuo finally experienced the magic damage. Although he was injured, Wang Shuo was not afraid. He immediately got up from the ground, put away his warhorse, and joined Gong Zheng and others to start the siege. In this way, they could not only cooperate tactically, but also get the protection of their teammates, and their safety could be improved. As a mage, the necromancer has weak melee ability, and his mental power was greatly consumed when he just cast the undead summon, so it was difficult for him to organize an effective resistance. Not long after, Wang Shuo shot him to death. You killed the necromancer. Your level is upgraded to level 7, and you get 1 attribute point that can be allocated. Found 15 energy crystals and 1 soul crystal. Do you want to pick them up? Yes. There was actually 1 soul crystal, which made Wang Shuo a little overjoyed. The value of soul crystals is much higher than that of energy crystals, and many magical equipment require soul crystals. Zhao Bangde once said that the high-level skeletons here all have soul crystals, and it seems to be true. After this battle, Wang Shuo's level reached 7, Gong Zheng reached 5, and Gong Ping and Gong Kai also reached 4. And the team's cooperation also seemed to be more tacit. Back to the camp, Wang Shuo found Zhao Bangde and used the military merit points to repair his equipment. At the same time, he also exchanged some life potions, which can enhance the endurance. The opponents he met in the future will definitely become stronger and stronger, and it is inevitable to get injured and lose blood. However, the exchange ratio made Wang Shuo feel a little distressed. 10 military merit points can be exchanged for 1 bottle, and each bottle can only restore 50 health points. Wang Shuo called this medicine that restores health Xiaohong. Of course, there is also Dahong that restores 200 health points each time, but the price is 50 military merit points. Wang Shuo said, "The price is too expensive, I don't deserve it." After exchanging 10 bottles of Xiaohong medicine, when the state returned to the peak, Wang Shuo and his party went straight to the place where the big knife skeleton king was. It's time to test the strength of my team. Lord Survival, my shelter in Crocodile territory. Author, Qi Wen. Chapter 48. The skeleton king with a big knife still stood there proudly, as if waiting for Wang Shuo to challenge him. There is nothing to say. Just do it. Wang Shuo arranged some tactics. Gong Zheng was responsible for attracting firepower, which would be stressful, so he gave him 5 bottles of small red medicine so that he could replenish himself when his health dropped. The golden armor warrior served as the main output, after all, it had the highest attack power. The battle started soon. Wang Shuo bent his bow and put an arrow on it. With a swoosh, the iron arrow cut through the sky and hit the target. A -25 damage floated above the skeleton king with a big knife. He immediately turned his head and looked in the direction of the attack. Finding that someone dared to attack him, he rushed towards Wang Shuo with some anger. Gong Zheng immediately took the lead and fought back with a big iron shield. After Gong Zheng's level was upgraded, Wang Shuo allocated his free attribute points to physique and strength in a ratio of 2:1. At this time, his defense power was greatly improved compared to the beginning. Moreover, he also has the buff bonus of Brothers United, and his attributes have been strengthened again, and his defense is higher than that of the Golden Armor Warrior. Gong Zheng withstood the first collision, and he and the Skeleton King each took a step back, which was considered to be evenly matched. This made Wang Shuo feel relieved, and at the same time he was amazed at the defense of the Big Knife Skeleton King. Afterwards, everyone began to output in an orderly manner, with the Golden Armor Warrior as the main force, and Wang Shuo and the other 2 brothers as auxiliary, cooperating with each other. For a time, the Big Knife Skeleton King was exhausted from parrying and had little power to fight back. All attacks were blocked by the big shield. It's just that the durability of the iron shield dropped very quickly. With the support of Gong Zheng's blocking skill, Wang Shuo was quite satisfied. At present, it is a one-sided situation. As long as there is no accident, this boss will be eliminated soon. But the accident still happened. Of course, this accident was within Wang Shuo's expectations. As a boss, there must be burst skills. Suddenly, the sword of the Skeleton King of the Big Knife burst out with a burst of golden light, and instantly split Gong Zheng's big shield in half. Charge strike. This is an important skill of the Skeleton King of the Big Knife, and Gong Zheng was instantly knocked out. Wang Shuo's pupils suddenly dilated, and he looked at Gong Zheng with some worry, and found that the opponent climbed up, and his blood volume only dropped by 100, which seemed to be just injured by the shock. Without the big iron shield, the pressure on Wang Shuo's team doubled, but the blood volume of the Skeleton King of the Big Knife was not much, which gave Wang Shuo hope. Golden Armor Warrior, go! Wang Shuo shouted loudly, and at this time only it could withstand the boss's damage, exchanging durability for output, which was also a helpless move. Gong Zheng also took out the shield that Wang Shuo gave him at the beginning, but this small shield was much worse in defense than the big iron shield. Just when everyone was besieging, the Skeleton King of the Big Knife used a move of sweeping thousands of troops, and Wang Shuo and others were all repelled, and everyone was injured. The situation suddenly took a turn for the worse. The Skeleton King with the big knife attacked the fallen Gong Ping directly. If he hit him with this knife, Gong Ping, who was at low health, would surely die. At this critical moment, Gong Zheng immediately blocked it with his shield. Gong Zheng was injured again, and his health had dropped to a dangerous level. Wang Shuo's heart was in his throat, and he stabbed with his gun. Since he had no skills, he could only attack normally, and the damage was limited. At this time, the Golden Armored Warrior also seized the opportunity, jumped into the air, and with a leap and a powerful blow, he instantly repelled the Skeleton King with the big knife, and caused huge damage. At this point, the battle came to an end. Wang Shuo directly ordered Gong Zheng, who was seriously injured, to withdraw from the battle and seize the time to recover his health on the side. After releasing the skills, the Skeleton King obviously had a weak period. Wang Shuo and others kept covering each other and causing him damage. After a while, Wang Shuo saw the right opportunity and stabbed its skull with a gun, clearing its health. You killed the Skeleton King with the big knife. After the system prompt sounded, Wang Shuo finally breathed a sigh of relief. The task of killing the broadsword skeleton king is completed. You can find the quartermaster Zhao Bang to receive the reward. Your level has been upgraded to level 8. Wang Shuo found that several of his subordinates had also been upgraded. Since the last upgrade, they have killed many more skeleton soldiers. In addition to this boss, the level upgrade is not surprising. Wang Shuo walked over and picked up the items dropped on the ground. Soul Crystal add 1, Energy Crystal add 15, Broadsword add 1. A weapon was actually exploded, which made Wang Shuo a little happy. Broadsword, excellent weapon, Strength add 10, Attack Power add 20, Durability, 100/100. It turned out to be an excellent level broadsword. It seems to be the weapon used by the broadsword skeleton king. Wang Shuo felt a little regretful. If it was a gun, he could use it himself. However, it was also very good to be able to improve the strength of his subordinates, so he directly gave it to Gong Kai. Gong Kai, who got the broadsword, did not show any emotional changes. A tool man really does not deserve to have an expression. At this time, Wang Shuo checked Gong Kai's character information. He found that there were actually 2 attribute panels. One is the basic attribute panel, and the other is the combat attribute panel. Basic attribute panel. ID, SAC 567895537 Gong Kai. Level, level 5. Strength, 25. Constitution, 10. Agility, 7. Energy, 5. Qualification, B level, each level provides 4 free attribute points. This kind of growth made Wang Shuo feel a little inferior to himself. He seemed to have upgraded to level 1 and only had 1 free attribute, which was really embarrassing. Combat attribute panel. Attack power, 25 add 20. Defense, 8. Health value, 600. Skill, heavy attack. Equipment, broadback sword sophisticated weapon, strength add 10, attack power add 20, durability, 100/100, main equipment. This broadback sword can be said to be a small masterpiece, which greatly improved Gong Kai's combat effectiveness. Wang Shuo smiled happily. I checked the other 2 brothers and found that they were roughly the same, except that they didn't have the best weapons and the various values were a little lower. The qualifications are all B level. After a short rest, Gong Zheng's condition returned to normal. Wang Shuo began to sweep away in the direction of the camp. From afar, Wang Shuo shouted to Bond Zhao, "Old Zhao, I defeated the skeleton king with the sword." "Well, not bad, not bad." Zhao Bond also showed a smile of appreciation. According to his prediction, Wang Shuo should be able to defeat this boss tomorrow. This is your reward. Cavalry Squad Medal add 1, Military Merit Points add 500. Cavalry Squad Medal, after players wear it, they can form a 10-man cavalry squad. After Wang Shuo equipped it, he found that there was no corresponding system prompt. He looked at Zhao Bond in confusion. That's because you haven't become a cavalry yet. Once you have a combat profession and open the command panel, you can form your own cavalry team. So that's it? Wang Shuo thought thoughtfully, thinking that in the battle for the village building order, he must change his job as soon as possible, so that he can form a strong combat effectiveness. Lord Survival, My Shelter in Crocodile Territory. Author, Qi Wen. Chapter 49. To obtain a combat profession, in addition to learning it through training in special buildings such as military camps. Another method is to use a job transfer certificate. Zhao Bangde has the cavalry job transfer certificate, but it requires 2,000 military merit points. The military camp building blueprint requires 50,000 points. Although Wang Shuo's military merit points have exceeded 1,000 points, it is still far from enough. Wang Shuo thought that he still had a flaming spear blueprint. After asking, Zhao Bang did not have the corresponding materials. Wang Shuo could not help but feel a little disappointed. After thinking about it, Wang Shuo first exchanged 3 war horses for his 3 generals, and each war horse had 200 military merit points. Gong Zheng still lacked a fine large shield, and Wang Shuo used 400 points to exchange for a fine quality bronze large shield. The main reason was that his military merit points were not enough now, and he still had to go to brush the skeleton soldiers. However, it was late at this time, so he had to wait until tomorrow to act. The next morning, Wang Shuo and others stood on the Gobi again. After updating his equipment, Wang Shuo started his journey to earn military merit points again. With war horses, their mobility has been greatly improved, and their efficiency is several times that of yesterday. After they all become cavalrymen, and with the cavalry squad medal, their combat effectiveness will be a qualitative leap. Wang Shuo is looking forward to it. In the 4 directions of the Gobi, there is also a level 10 boss. Wang Shuo took the task and swept with his subordinates. With his current strong strength, he quickly killed them one by one. He got 3 soul crystals and 3 weapons again, a piercing bow, a wrought iron gun, and a pair of 2-handed copper hammers. Of these 3 weapons, Wang Shuo used the wrought iron gun himself, gave the piercing bow to Gong Kai, and the copper hammer to Gong Zheng. When fighting on horseback, he just needed a handy weapon. In this way, the combat effectiveness of Wang Shuo's team has reached a new level. Moreover, his military merit points, after a day of crazy killing, directly broke through the 5,000 mark. If the nearby skeleton soldiers had not been almost killed by them, this number would be even higher. After returning to the camp, Wang Shuo directly exchanged a cavalry transfer certificate, so that he could start the combat profession before other players. Found that the player has a cavalry transfer certificate. Do you want to use it? Yes. Congratulations on becoming a cavalry. The combat attribute panel is opened, and the command attribute is opened. Since you are the first player in this area to have a combat profession, reward, command add 10. Detected that the player is the first to open a life profession and the first to open a combat profession, reward, qualification level add 1, from E level to D level. System announcement, congratulations to player ID, 5678 Wang Shuo, the first to obtain a combat profession. Open the reputation value attribute, reputation add 50. At this time, Wang Shuo's head was buzzing. A series of system prompts and announcements made Wang Shuo a little overwhelmed. Like Wang Shuo, other players in this area were also confused. What's going on? The boss is making trouble again. Why did he open the combat profession? Please help me. He's cheating. He's definitely cheating. I want to report him. This is destroying the balance of the game. He's the first one several times. How can we play this? In the chat channel, everyone began to complain in an unfriendly tone. If it was before, it must be boss, awesome. Then add 1, and then add 1. Now, after confirming the opposition relationship between each other, the players began to denounce him, thinking that if the opponent is strong, they may suffer. Wang Shuo ignored these jealous players and checked his character information attribute panel. Basic attribute panel. ID, SAC 5678 Wang Shuo. Level, level 8. Strength, 25, 10 add 15. Constitution, 25, 15 add 10. Agility, 13, 10 add 3. Energy, 18, 17 add 1. Life skills, 1 smooth the waters, 2 make a mud pit. Qualification, D level, each level up provides 2 free attribute points. Free attributes that can be allocated, 9. Combat attribute panel. Attack power, 25 add 25. Defense power, 20. Command value, 10. Reputation value, 50. Health value, 950. Skills, none. Combat skills, 1 summon mud monsters, 2 Eye of Delusion. Equipment, 1 Iron Spear, excellent, 2. Advanced Crocodile Leather Armor, Gold, 3. Crocodile Leather Boots, 4. Rebound Necklace, 5. Horse Brand. Overall evaluation, now you have a certain combat power and can fight monsters of the same level alone, but this is nothing great, right? Keep a low profile and don't waste time. After seeing these changes, Wang Shuo was a little complacent. Very good and powerful. For the next ranking and the battle for the village construction order, Wang Shuo is more confident. Wang Shuo took out the cavalry squad medal and found that it was already usable. Do you want to create a cavalry squad? Yes. Please name the cavalry squad. Wang Shuo thought for a while and decided to use Swift Scout as the name of this cavalry squad. The Swift Scout Cavalry Squad was named successfully. Swift Scout Cavalry Squad Medal provides 20% speed bonus, 5% attack power bonus, and 5% defense bonus for the squad cavalry squad size, 1/10. Wang Shuo was very satisfied after seeing this bonus. However, if he wanted to transfer all 3 brothers to cavalry, he still needed 3,000 military merit points. I don't know if he can get them together tomorrow. After all, there are only a few skeleton soldiers left nearby. Considering that there is no one to take care of his territory, Wang Shuo used 150 military merit points to exchange for the cheapest tool man. ID 3334 Philomena. Wang Shuo renamed him Ziona, who can be Wang Shuo's maid, responsible for cooking and taking care of the farmland and the breeding farm. Back in the shelter, Wang Shuo gave Ziona the authority to take food out of the warehouse and told her to prepare dinner. Then he washed off all the stains. After the 3 Gong brothers finished washing, everyone came to the hall and prepared to eat. This was the first time that Wang Shuo and his generals formally sat together for dinner. However, due to the influence of the system seal, the 3 brothers were not active and could only answer some simple questions from Wang Shuo and execute orders. This made Wang Shuo a little bored. After eating, Wang Shuo returned to his room. He began to think about the next arrangements. There are still 2 days left, and the battle for the village building order is about to begin. Wang Shuo looked at the taskbar again and found that there were only 213 people alive in the current area. The remaining ones are basically the elites among the elites. He browsed the trading house again, wanting to see the latest commodity trading trends. As a result, there were few consignment items in the trading house, on the one hand because the number of players decreased sharply, and on the other hand because of the elimination round. Everyone has entered a relatively stable period, and they are all desperately developing the war potential of their own territories to enhance their own strength. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Lord Survival, My Shelter in Crocodile Territory. Author, Chi Wen. Chapter 50. After a night's rest. Wang Shuo and his men were full of energy and high in fighting spirit, and their condition had been adjusted to its peak. Today's goal is to earn at least 3,000 military merit points. After greeting Lao Zhao, he asked if there were any other missions. Zhao Ban said directly, there is only one recurring mission left. Your current strength is not suitable for entering a more dangerous area. Wang Shuo thought of the ghost he met for the first time, and he still has lingering fears. Looking at the map, the area where the skeleton soldiers are located is yellow, the area where the skeleton knights are located is in the outer circle, which is displayed in orange, and further away is the red area where the ghosts are, and there are also darker areas. Wang Shuo followed Lao Zhao's advice and did not step into the dangerous orange zone yet. Immediately afterwards, Wang Shuo led his cavalry squad towards the Gobi battlefield. The speed of a warhorse is equivalent to agility 20, so the combat effectiveness of riding a horse has been significantly improved. With a single charge, the skeleton soldiers can be knocked away by the huge impact. The skeleton soldiers lying on the ground have almost lost their combat effectiveness. They only need to perform a last hit to kill them easily. Therefore, Wang Shuo had to go back and forth to the camp every once in a while. It only took most of a day for Wang Shuo to accumulate 3,000 points, and everyone's level also increased by 1 level. Wang Shuo wanted to go all out and get enough military merit points to summon Ayub, but basically, 9 out of 10 skeleton soldiers in the yellow area had been killed, which was not enough at all. Wang Shuo had no choice but to give up and return to the Yellow Wind Valley camp. Directly redeemed 3 cavalry job transfer certificates. Cavalry job transfer certificate add 3, military merit points minus 6,000. Distributed to the 3 brothers Gong Zheng and used them. Wang Shuo's Swift Scout cavalry team finally had 4 people. In the remaining time, Wang Shuo plans to build the camp. Wang Shuo plans to run this camp well. After discussing with Zhao Bandang, Wang Shuo built an energy tower in the camp. At the same time, more houses were built to make the place look less bleak. Time passed quickly. On the afternoon of the 20th, Wang Shuo thought about it and decided to summon Hadro. If he is not able to survive the battle for the village building order this time, then his resources will be meaningless. I took inventory of my current supplies. In the end, there were only 20 sets of key molds left in the trading house, and no one bought them anymore. There were also 768 bronze keys left. Wang Shuo received more than 700 gold coins, and his total assets reached 5,500 gold coins. Wang Shuo took out the traveling merchant summoning scroll, Hadro, and used it. Another portal appeared in front of him. Wang Shuo became much calmer at this time, and no longer looked as strange as before. Long time no see, my dear Lord. Wang Shuo Hadro seemed to be in a good mood. Long time no see, Mr. Hadro. Seeing that you are smiling all over your face, could it be that you have done a big business recently? Wang Shuo also said with a smile. Thanks to the Lord, business has been going smoothly recently. This is the biggest business. Of course I hope to cooperate with the Lord. After saying that, he put the attic down directly. Please, let's talk inside. Hadro stretched out his hand and nodded. Wang Shuo was not polite and walked in directly. Lord, I haven't seen you for just a few days. Your territory has changed so much that I almost don't recognize it anymore. Wang Shuo waved his hand and said with a wry smile, Mr. Hadro, you only see the changes in the territory, but you don't know that I walk on the edge of death every day. In the recent knockout competition, I almost died. Hadro's pupils shrank and he said in surprise. Although Hadro traveled all over the country and met countless people on the verge of death, he was still happy to listen to Wang Shuo talk about his experience. Soon, the two of them talked about the upcoming battle for the village building order. Wang Shuo then solemnly said, I wonder if Mr. Hadro has any recommended items that can help me in the battle. Hadro's face straightened, he thought for a while, and then said in deep thought, I don't know, Lord, how much do you know about the upcoming battle? Wang Shuo shook his head. He could only make a judgment based on the words of Mr. Zhak and Bond Zhao. Zhao Bond had no way to reveal more information to him. The same goes for Chang Gui. He can no longer remember a lot of important information. Hadro was silent for a long time and said quietly, no matter what, it is always right to improve one's own strength. As he spoke, he took out an exquisite box. There is an Earth Emperor fruit inside, which can improve your control ability. I believe you have already felt the benefits of control. Hearing this, Wang Shuo really didn't feel it. Then he realized it for himself and found that he and his subordinates seemed to have established some kind of connection, and within a certain range, he could transmit his orders without any obstacles. Could this be the role of dominance? Emperor of Heaven fruit, increases the command value by 10 points, each person can only take one. Each point of command points can add 10 soldiers to the commander. Wang Shuo currently has 10 command points and can command 100 soldiers. His current troop capacity is far from saturated. It can be said that this Earth Emperor fruit is not very needed. Wang Shuo suddenly thought that his 10 points of command value were awarded by the system. If there was no system reward, how could he improve his command value? Obviously, this Earth Emperor fruit is one of the best ways to improve command value. It seems that for the upcoming battle, it is very important to build your own troops. Wang Shuo couldn't help but speculate. In any case, Wang Shuo planned to buy this Earth Emperor fruit. What is the value of this Earth Emperor fruit? Wang Shuo asked. Hadro smiled, thought for a moment and said, as my old customer, I will give you the lowest price, 200 energy crystals, or 2,000 gold coins. Wang Shuo touched his chin, hesitated for a moment, and then asked, are there any other things? The Dragon Spear technique is a yellow level technique with 9 levels. Each level you practice can provide all attributes add 1, command value add 1, and attack power add 2. After practicing to the second level, you can also comprehend a skill, the Dragon Strike Hadro introduced slowly. Arts and secrets have always been in short supply in the market. Not only are they expensive, but they are usually priceless. So, Lord, don't think it's just a yellow level technique and despise it. You should know that its price is at least 10,000 gold coins. Wang Shuo was a little short of breath. This spear technique was exactly what he needed. He had looked for it from Zhao Bang before, but found that the cheap ones were not suitable for him, and the ones that were suitable for him were too expensive. He simply could not gather the required military merit points in a short period of time. So when Wang Shuo saw this gun manual, he could not take his eyes away. Lord Survival, My Shelter in Crocodile Territory. Author, Qi Wen. Chapter 51. Okay, I'll take both of these, Wang Shuo said with a firm face. Also, have you collected the materials for making the flame gun that I asked you to collect last time? Hadro took out a piece of fine iron ingot, a piece of mithril, and a flame rune directly from his backpack. These things, even if you charge 3,000 gold coins, I won't make any money from you. Wang Shuo thought about it, and the total transaction volume was 16,000 gold coins, so the other party must have made a lot of money. He calmly chose another contract scroll. Then he said, Mr. Hadro, you know that I am still in the novice trial stage, and it is difficult to collect so many gold coins at once. Can you give me less? After all, I am also your old customer, and there are still many opportunities for cooperation in the future. Haha, Lord, you are right. For the sake of our old friendship, you name a number. As long as it can be discounted, I will definitely give it a discount. 5,000. Hadro was stunned for a moment, and then laughed after a while. Lord, you are joking. 8,000. Haha. After some bargaining, it was finally sold for 15,000 gold coins. The main thing is that the gun manual can be sold for at least 20,000 gold coins at the auction, so he can't lose a penny of this 10,000 gold coins. Earth Emperor fruit add 1, Dragon gun manual add 1, fine iron ingot add 1, mithril add 1, flame rune add 1, gold coins minus 5,000, energy crystal minus 1,000. Wang Shuo knew that the other party must have made a lot of money from him, but there was nothing he could do about it. If there was no profit, he would never buy good things from him again. But if he didn't bargain, he would be easily taken advantage of by the other party. Although the materials for the flame gun had been collected, a blacksmith was still needed to complete the forging. After the transaction was completed, Wang Shuo prepared wine and food and planned to have a good chat with Hadro. After all, this kind of peddler who wandered between various forces could definitely provide Wang Shuo with a lot of useful information. Hadro left after chatting until late at night. On the morning of the 21st day, Wang Shuo came to the yard and took out the dragon spear art he bought yesterday. Are you sure you want to learn dragon spear art? Yes. In the skill column of Wang Shuo's combat attribute panel, there was an additional skill of dragon spear art. After clicking it, dragon spear art, yellow level technique, with 9 levels in total, each level can provide basic attributes, all attributes add 1, command value add 1, attack power add 2, and after practicing to the second level, you can also comprehend a skill, Dragon Strike, current level 1, proficiency 0/1000. Originally, it was upgraded with proficiency. It seems that it needs to be upgraded to level 2 quickly, so that there will be an extra attack skill. He took out the Earth Emperor fruit again, and after taking it, the command value increased by 10 points. Now the number of soldiers he can lead has increased to 200, which makes Wang Shuo a little excited. At this time, the voice of Lord Zack sounded again. Congratulations to all players for successfully passing the elimination round. I am very satisfied with your performance. Now I will reward the top 10 players. Now announce the current ranking. 10th place, Zhang Yang. 9th place, Yetianba. 8th place, Lu Dehai. 7th place, Yu Ji. 6th place, Zhao Shanhe. 5th place, Wu Han. 4th place, Zhao Tians. 3rd place, Zeta. 2nd place, Sushiu. 1st place, Wang Shuo. The top 10 players basically did not change much, only Zhang Yang came from behind and successfully entered the top 10. Players ranked after 100 will have their souls sealed and become tools. As soon as the voice fell, the number of survivors in the current area dropped directly to 100. This operation directly made the surviving players feel a kind of sadness of the rabbit dying and the fox mourning. Even many players did not have time to leave their last words. No one who is alive now complains, because they have all adapted to this cruel world. 4th to 10th place, reward all attributes add 1, reputation add 10. 3rd place, reward all attributes add 2, reputation add 50, gold add 1000. 2nd place, reward all attributes add 3, reputation add 100, energy crystal add 100. 1st place, reward all attributes add 5, reputation add 200, soul crystal add 10. Next we will enter the battle for the village building order. Look forward to your excellent performance. After Master Zack finished speaking, the mechanical system female voice began to announce the rules of the game. The system fog of Hedong County in the Wei domain will dissipate. The remaining 999,000 players automatically obtain the status of refugees and enter the melee stage. Open the combat profession. Players can go to the nearest system town to find a mentor to learn. Collect 10 shelter hearts to synthesize a bronze village building order. 10 bronze village building orders can be upgraded to silver village building orders, and 10 silver village building orders can be upgraded to gold village building orders. When 100 players have collected gold village building orders, the battle for village building orders ends. The top 10 players will receive generous rewards. At the end of the game, players who have sanctuary hearts but not enough to synthesize bronze village building orders can go to the system town, hand in their sanctuary hearts, and obtain the town's household registration. With the announcement of the rules, the system fog around Wang Shuo's territory began to dissipate. However, the air wall around the territory has not completely disappeared. He can even see that the surrounding player territories are covered by transparent lids. Before Wang Shuo had time to digest this information, the enemies around him suddenly appeared. Checking the backpack, he found that he already had 2 sanctuary hearts. This is a good start. It seems that each player currently has several sanctuary hearts in his hands, and the next battle will inevitably enter a white-hot stage. Agi, what suggestions do you have? Lord, this battle is mainly to snatch the trial stones in the hands of the players. With our combat effectiveness, we can completely occupy a huge advantage in the early stage, so we should act immediately. Due to time constraints, Chang Gui simply put forward some suggestions. In the early stage, more players should be gathered, which will be beneficial to future development. Wang Shuo pondered for a moment and felt that what Chang Gui said made sense. So he gathered his troops and planned to wait until the protective shield disappeared before taking action. He looked at the map again and found that there had been great changes. He had become a small green dot, and was in a huge map. The three words Dawei were marked on it, and there were some yellow dots around it, and even some red dots. Wang Shuo zoomed in on the map and found that his location was called Weidane Mountain. There was a river nearby, called Xiangshui River, and not far below the river, there was a system town called Nanshanji. At this moment, at the foot of Weidane Mountain, within a radius of 10 miles, there were hundreds of players, some in extreme excitement, some in panic, and some with cold faces, without any waves. Not long after, De Wang woofed, and Wang Shuo's territory was completely integrated with the outside world. Not far to the north is the towering Weidane Mountain, which is covered with dense vegetation and lush green. The other three sides are open areas, and some shelters built by players can be vaguely seen. Let's go. Wang Shuo rode on a warhorse, waved his spear, and rushed out first. At this moment, he was majestic and had the demeanor of a great general. Gong Zheng and others followed closely behind, also spurring their horses and galloping away.